Like most people, I used to subscribe to the belief that 12-volt tools were inferior in performance and power. Today, in 2022, that's hardly the case. 12-volt tools have come a long way, and when I got to try Makita and DeWalt's 12-volt line, I was convinced that 12-volt tools were a worthwhile investment. The question I was left asking myself, though, was which brand should I go with? I'm a big fan of DeWalt and Makita tools, but there was one brand that was always making a ton of noise in the 12-volt scene and seemed very popular. The Milwaukee M12 fuel line was widely regarded to have the widest line of 12-volt tools in the market today. In a way, you could say that Milwaukee has done for their 12-volt line what Ryobi did for their 18-volt line, meaning there's just so many tools. The big difference is Milwaukee doesn't have that budget slash inferior image that Ryobi has. Milwaukee is a premium priced high performance brand. So I did it. I jumped into the Milwaukee M12 fuel system. I got their bandsaw, impact driver, hammer drill, and reciprocating saw. And I have to be honest, everything they said about Milwaukee was true. The tools have a premium feel, and there's nothing bad I can say about the power. I was already drooling at the prospect of buying their other tools. So what happened? Why the change of heart? Well, there's two things that I noticed right away I didn't like. At first, I thought I'd just brush it off, that I'd get used to it, that it was nothing and I was just nitpicking. Give it some time, I said to myself. You'll get used to it. Well, I gave it some time, but ultimately couldn't get over it. Before I share what those two things were, I do feel that it's important to have some context. I'm a DIYer. I work with my tools on the weekends and I truly enjoy building things. It's my therapy, it's my time off, it's my holiday, which is why sometimes, even more important than performance, is my overall experience and level of enjoyment when using a tool. And that's where Milwaukee's 12-volt tools kept bugging me. The fat, thick grips weren't comfortable to hold, and the battery latch system was cumbersome. You wouldn't think those two things should be that big a deal, which is why I felt it important to share my personal context. These may be non factors for you, and quite frankly, I thought they would be non factors for me too, but I guess they're more important to me than I realized myself. So, how thick are these handles really? More importantly, how thick are they compared to other tools? The thickest part on this DeWalt 12-volt impact driver is 5 inches, and even then, it's a small bump in the general area of where your middle finger tends to be, which is also your longest finger. Most of the grip on an M12 tool is 6 and 1/4 inches thick. And that's from the base of the tool up to maybe 3/4 inches from the trigger. So that additional 1 and 1/4 inches of thickness feels even thicker when you consider that that's where your shortest fingers tend to be, meaning your pinky and ring finger. And I know, I'm Asian, I have Asian hands, and I confess I thought about this too. I do feel a little bit validated though, because when I did some research on this, I found that some Americans and Europeans have the same complaint about the grips too. Anyway, onto the batteries. M12 uses this dual clip design where you have to press down on both sides to release the battery. They're not on opposite ends either. The clips feel like they are 45 degrees from the center or something. So it's more of like a pinching motion. This takes some getting used to, and it was really starting to get frustrating, especially when you're just trying to switch batteries to another tool. I even started practicing putting the battery in and removing it quickly. But when you're hyper focused trying to get a project right, you don't really want to be thinking about how to remove a battery, do you? I certainly don't. So there you have it. Those two reasons, however trivial, are the reasons I'm getting rid of my Milwaukee M12 tools and rethinking which brand I should go with for my 12-volt tools. Fortunately, I was just 4 tools in. And yeah, I realize I may be turning my back on the widest line of 12-volt tools, but that's the bed I'm making for myself. I guess I'm just going to have to lie in it for more comfortable grips. I mean pillows.